TV. We're here for the first ever live stream of Championship predictions. Obviously, the first game is tomorrow, so obviously we're doing them today. So yeah, man, let's just get straight into it. It's literally going to be like how I do the Premier League predictions, because obviously you can use the same website for all the leagues across, the world and that. It's a shame you can't do it for cup competitions, like a progressive stage, because that would be pretty good, but it is what it is. It is what it is in that sense. But yeah, obviously, let's get into it. So obviously, the first game is tomorrow, and that obviously consists of Hull City at home taking on West Bromwich Albion. Now, obviously, Hull, I did really well actually in Championship predictions last week. I ended up getting 4 games spot on, and a few one-pointers in the thing that I do. Hull City taking on West Brom. West Brom, got that impressive win against Middlesbrough, which I didn't expect, especially the goalkeeper situation West Brom were in. They ended up getting a clean sheet, which was impressive, especially against Middlesbrough. How they're doing. They are chasing second. I personally don't think they will get second, but I think, come the end of the season, the points will be tight. But Sheffield United will do it in the end. That's what I think. But yeah, Hull versus West Brom, Friday night game. Hull, they're not doing too bad. They are a team that's, you could say they're in the playoff battle, but they're further away from it. Obviously, you look there, they're 10 points off Norwich, who are obviously 7th, just outside the playoffs, 2 points. So it's looking slim. It's looking slim. They are a team that you could count as in it. Taking on West Brom. West Brom, I just think confidence will be there from that result, last weekend. And yeah, I think they'll beat Hull. Hull are very inconsistent. They can have a really good result and then a poor. I'm going to go 2-0. I go 2-0 in this one to West Bromwich Albion. Moving on to the next game, 12:30 game on Saturday. This is quite a big game, to be fair. Blackburn Rovers are actually doing very well despite their inconsistency. I say it week after week. They're sitting 4th. They're taking on Sheffield United, who obviously got that really good result in the FA Cup against Tottenham. Even though I said 3-1 Tottenham, I did say Sheffield United could shock them. Obviously doing very well in the Championship. Sitting second place, like I said, they will get second place at the end of the season. Yeah, this one's an interesting one. Blackburn, very inconsistent. Sheffield United, obviously, they've started getting results going now again. Obviously, their last Championship game, they did beat Watford as well, which I didn't expect, especially being at home. See Sheffield United winning this one as well. I think it'll be a close one. I'm going to go 2-1. Go 2-1 in this one. Let's go through some comments. Big up yourself. Hello. He also says you put a lot of effort into it. You deserve more viewers. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Moving on to the next game, another 12:30 game in the Championship. There's 2 this weekend. The next one is Cardiff City taking on Bristol City. Now, obviously, Cardiff in their last game did get a victory at home, is what I'm saying. 1-0 against Reading, which could be a massive win come the end of the season, giving, Cardiff, I think it's 4 or 5 points away. Let me just double check that. 4 points away from safety. From the relegation battle. They're 4 points safe, I meant to say. It's going to be an interesting one, this one. They're taking on Bristol City, which is a derby, by the way. This is a derby. Bristol City, they're another team, slim chance of potentially getting the mix. They're, what is it, 8 off. They're doing well recently. They did beat Hull last week, like I said, which I did predict. They did lose to Man City, but obviously who expected Bristol City to win, let's be honest. And even though it's a 3-0 scoreline, there was, times in that game they were actually decent. especially against, Manchester City as well. You know what City are like, even when they rotate their squad, and they played really well in that one. With it being a derby, obviously it's not as big as Cardiff Swansea, but it still is a derby. I reckon Cardiff might get us some sort of result here, which will help them in that playoff battle. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'm going to go for a 1-1 in this one. A lot of people will go Bristol City, but I'm going to go over 1-1 in this one. Let's go through some comments. Big up Max says, big up T, big up yourself, mate. Hope you're well. He says, hope you're well. Yeah, I'm decent, mate. I'm decent. Yeah. Predicting 2-1 loss, obviously, for Hull. Can't see us winning. I was thinking 2-1, but I went 2-0 instead. And big up yourself, mate, for the super chat. Thank you very much. He says, I hope Norwich wins. Greetings from Germany. Now, thank you very much for that, mate. Everything I receive and it goes back into the channel. So, yeah, man, much appreciated for that. Moving on to the next game. Here we go. The 3 p.m. games. Every game now is a 3 p.m. game this weekend. Sunderland versus Stoke. Sunderland will obviously want to bounce back. They've had some pretty, shocking results recently. 2 losses on the bounce. Obviously, they were in the playoffs. They're still in the mix. Still very much in the mix, in fact. If they do go on to win this game, depending on what Norwich do, and obviously Watford as well, even though Norwich and Watford not on the same points, but obviously above them, they'll be just, a few points what they do, really. Very good end up getting it. And if they did end up getting it, that'd be brilliant, especially their first season back from League One. Obviously, they were down there for quite a while as well. On Stoke, again, Stoke, a very inconsistent team in the Championship. Sunderland being at home, I'll probably back them to win this one. That home crowd as well, obviously, they do have the biggest stadium in the Championship. I reckon it'll be tight, but I'm going to go over 1-0. Go over 1-0 in this one. Stoke have lost quite a lot of times 1-0 this season as well. So I'm going to go for that again in this one. Moving on to the next game. Moving up to the seaside. Down from Sunderland. Down and across sort of. Bloomfield Road. Blackpool taking on Burnley. You're a Luton fan, or am I mistaken? Yeah, I'm a Luton fan, mate. I'm a Luton fan. Blackpool versus Burnley. Now, this one is, pretty much written that you're going to say a Burnley win, isn't it? They're high flying. Even when they're not playing overly great, they still get results. Like, look at when they played Luton. A lot of their fans are saying that was their toughest game in the season, and they still won that game. Do you know what I mean? They've had 10 draws. You look at, games like Watford as well. When they played Watford, they didn't play great, I'll be honest, and they got that late goal. It shows you what a fighting team does, fighting to win the league, and they will win the league. It's just a matter of when. Taking on Blackpool. Blackpool obviously did win their last home game. I believe that was, the one with Stoke. But this is Burnley, complete different opposition. Obviously, Burnley did play midweek as well. Narrowly beat Fleetwood, which I knew it'd be a tight game because it was Fleetwood's first ever time in that round. I knew they'd make it tough. They do have some good players as well. Obviously, a few Luton players on loan. Musgrave came back, but Mendes Gomez is doing very well there. 3-1 Burnley. 3-1 Burnley is my prediction for this one. They did have a really cracking game in a reverse fixture this season. It ended up being a 3-3 draw, which I was very surprised about at the time, especially being at Burnley. But yeah, 3-1 Burnley for me in this one. Moving on to the next game, Middlesbrough taking on Reading. Now, obviously, Middlesbrough will want to get back to winning ways after that result against West Brom. Team, obviously, another team fighting for the playoffs. Still sitting in third. Like I said, I think they'll make it close, I reckon, as we get onto the later stages of the season to get that second place. But I think Sheffield United will still end up getting it. They're taking on Reading. Reading obviously did get that win. They won their last game, I'm pretty sure, from what I can remember. you know, to be fair, when these two sides do play at Middlesbrough, you then do tend to see a lot of tight games, a lot of 2-1 narrow victories for Middlesbrough. You know, Reading, I think they will make it tough for Middlesbrough. You know, but I do think Middlesbrough will get back to winning ways. Over 2-1. Over 2-1 to Middlesbrough in this one. Moving on to the next game, massive game in playoff battle, and that's back-to-back massive game for Millwall in playoff the playoff battle. They're not quite playing a team that are in the playoffs as of yet, but they are playing a team that's not far from it at all. What is it? 1 or 2 points? 2 points as it stands right now. That is obviously Norwich. Since Wagner's come in, you know, they've had the odd results that still haven't been great, but most of the time they've been good. They're taking on Millwall. The Den's been a very tough place to go this season. It's going to be very interesting when my team, Luton, go there, that's for sure. It'll be different, in my opinion, to last season, where we won 2-0 and we was pretty comfortable. Not going to lie. But yeah, this one's going to be an interesting one. A lot of people probably would say a draw, given how both teams are doing. Obviously, Millwall, their last game 2-2 midweek with Luton. They'll be disappointed in the sense, and I know their fans were, with the manner how, you know, Luton got back into the game the way they did. You know, a few of them are like saying that was a good point there. They took it beforehand. You know, I took a point against Millwall, even though I said 2-1. I did have a feeling it could be a draw because the last 4 games before that were draws at Kenilworth Road, 4-3, something like that. You know, some of them are like, this is why we don't get the playoffs, this is why we slip out, because we, you know, dropped 2 points there. You know, saying to a certain extent, but they're not better this season, in my opinion. Taking on Rich, this one's an interesting one. I reckon this one could be goals galore, to be honest. I'm gonna go over 2-2. I'm gonna go over 2-2 at Desmond. I'm gonna go goals galore in this one. So yeah, moving on to the next game. A team, obviously, I've done like Watford taking on Preston. Now, obviously, Preston at the start of the season, they still comes to away records. They still have a really good away record. I think they're like 4th in the league or something still, so they're really high up there. It's just their home form which lets them down. They're 23rd. Well, they might have went up because they did win the weekend, but they were 23rd when it comes to home form, which is lets them down. You know, they're taking on Watford. You know, Watford obviously trying to fight for the playoffs. You know, they are, 4 points away? Yeah, 4 points away. So obviously they will want to win this one at home as well. Preston, you know, the away form they had was more at the start of the season where they're getting good results. I think they'll make it tight for Watford, but I do see Watford winning this one, unfortunately. I'm going to go 2-1. That time I do predict Watford to win or draw. Win, they lose or draw. So hopefully, I wouldn't mind if that happened. Moving on to the next game. Huddersfield Town, obviously a team in the relegation zone. I did call it at the start of the season. I said they'd be in the relegation zone. They're taking on Coventry City. Coventry drew 0-0 with Preston, but Preston seemed to be their bogey team, you know, looking at the stats beforehand on that game and everything like that. Did go over narrow Coventry win. I thought that's where they'd break it. Obviously, they're doing very well. Since that Luton game, they're actually unbeaten. And again, they're another team, you know, fighting for the playoffs, and they're not actually too far away now, as far as I'm aware. No, 50. Yeah. So they're, what's that away? So yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know, a couple of wins, and they're, you know, they're not far at all. They're taking on Huddersfield. Obviously, Huddersfield will, you know, be fighting to obviously stay up. Neil Warnock, since he's come in, it's been a lot better. Obviously, taking out that Burnley result last week. That is Burnley, who, you know, are the best team in the division by a mile. You know, I said 3-1 in that game to Burnley. Obviously, they ended up winning 4-0. Huddersfield, you know, their last home game, their only home game under Neil Warnock. Obviously, they did win 2-1 against Birmingham, which I did predict. But I just think with the run Coventry have been on, you know, they've been unbeaten, like I said, since that Luton game. Huddersfield, it will be a tight game, I think. But I do think Coventry will do it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go over 1-0. A 1-0, a narrow 1-0 win for Coventry City. Moving on to the next game, my team, Luton Town. I am going to this as well. I'm buzzing for that. It's actually going to be quite a emotional one. I'm not going to lie, because it looks like British chap. It will be his last game by looks of it. So yeah, man, he's big up to him. We're trying to get something done content-wise with him. But yeah, Luton taking on Swansea. Now, I did watch the Swansea game against Rotherham, and I thought Swansea were pretty poor. The goal they conceded was not great. They're not really doing the greatest this season. The best they're really going to end up fighting for, as much as they are a team that are in the playoff race, but further behind, is mid-table for me. They currently sit 15th. Like I said, I wasn't convinced at all with them against Rotherham. If it's at Rotherham and they got a draw, then yeah, I think that's a decent result, because Rotherham do tend to be better at home this season, but away, Rotherham are not all that. I did say a tight one. I did say 1-0 Swansea, which it was for a while, until obviously Rotherham got that goal later on in the half. Luton, obviously, we're starting to get our home form better, than it was at the start of the season. Got some narrow defeats, which weren't good enough. A few disappointing draws there. Other than the Burnley game, and you probably say the West Brom game, we started getting our home form decent, but Burnley, we played well. The performance was there. Like I said, some of their fans are saying that was the toughest game of the season. They still ended up winning it. West Brom, yeah, that was shocking. Started off really well, and then just I don't know, capitulated, you could say. A lot of bad performances that game. We're at home, we have been getting narrow wins at home, which I don't care how they come, as long as we do win the games. Like 1-0 against Stoke, 1-0 against, who was it? Cardiff, that was it, Cardiff. And I do think it's going to be I reckon it could be tight. I think at some point this season, and Luke Berry actually said it, and my dad always says it on the Hatter Show, we are eventually due to give someone a hiding. I would love it to be this game, because I don't really like Swansea. I don't like the Welsh teams in the English league. Simple as that. They sit there and want to, disrespect the English fans, rare-tear, singing all the chants and that. I get there's banter sometimes, but at the same time, mate, we could have you playing in your irrelevant leagues and no one would know, who you are, really. But yeah, I do think Luton will win this one. I don't think this will quite be the battering that we are due to give someone at some point, but I do think we'll win this one. And we, let's try and get back to winning ways. I'm going to go over 1-0. I'm going to go over 1-0 to Luton. We have got Millwall fan in here, Renault. I think he was on the watch on the other day, wasn't he, mate? Big up to yourself for tuning in. And then the last two games, we're already on the last two games. First one, Rotherham United versus QPR. Now, obviously, QPR, change of manager, Neil Critchley. Well, until I found out Luton wanted a young manager, young up and coming, which obviously we now got in Rob Edwards, I wouldn't have actually, and I wanted Critchley. Looking at how he did at QPR, thank God. Then again, I do think a lot of their players have got an ego, which is an ego problem. Obviously, they have got Ainsworth in, who was a former player. Never thought I'd see him leave Wickham, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, they did have a heavy defeat in his first game. I thought they'd maybe get a draw, given how inconsistent Blackburn are, especially being at home as well. Thought a 1-1 draw, but no, they got battered in the end. They're taking on Rotherham. Rotherham, obviously, I would say got that good point away for them at Swansea, sorry. Scrappy goal, but they won't care. I think that's a good result for them. I think they'll actually stay up this season. Let me just have a look at where they are, double check where they are. So, yeah, they're in, you would say they're in the battle still, but yeah, I think they'll stay up. You look at that, 37 points they're on. Huddersfield are obviously first team in that relegation zone, are on 31. Yeah, I think they'll stay up. And I think their home games will help them stay up, to be honest with you. So for this one, I'm going to go Rotherham United 2, QPR 1. I reckon QPR will take another defeat in this one. Graham Rodgers, do you think Everton will do well in the Championship next season? I don't think they will. A lot of people think they'll be like Burnley this season. I don't think they will. And I'm not even saying that because obviously I follow Liverpool as well. I just, nah, mate, not for me. I just got a feeling they won't. A lot of their players will obviously go, they're bigger players. And, you know, Burnley managed to keep an hold of loads of the Premier League players, which is another reason why I felt they would be in the top two, why I said second at the start of the season. But, you know, look at Everton. Pickford, he's England's number one, so there's no way he's going to stay. Calvert-Lewin, even though he's always injured, he won't stay. You know, yeah, McNeil and that might stay. You know, a few players like that. But you know, look at their team. You know, they have got some good players, and a lot of them just won't stay. So for me, mate, I think they'll struggle. I'm not saying that you know they'll be near bottom. I just think they'll be like lower. They'll be sort of like where you could say Watford are right now. They'll be fighting for playoffs, I reckon. I don't think they'll fight for the title or anything. Then again, if they don't sack him, they do have Dyche, who's a very experienced manager and good manager for that. But yeah, I think they'll be fighting for playoffs, mate. I don't think they'll be fighting for the league. But yeah, I reckon they'll be somewhere like where Watford are now, 8th, 7th, somewhere like that, just outside fighting for them. So yeah, man. That is my honest prediction on that. And then moving on to the last game, massive game at the bottom of the table. Birmingham are starting to put themselves in that battle. They're taking on Wigan Athletic. Now, Wigan, since the new manager's come in, you know, they've had some decent results. Beat Huddersfield, which I did predict. I did say 2-1, but obviously I did predict a Wigan win. I've had a few impressive draws that I've been impressed with, like drawing at home to Norwich. I thought Norwich would win that pretty comfortably. Even though Norwich haven't been overly great this season, I just thought they'd do it. Their quality would shine through. You know, they've had some decent draws, decent results away from home. I think they drew to Bristol City as well, didn't they? Bristol City are on decent form, like 13 games unbeaten or whatever it is. Yeah, Birmingham, obviously I did watch them against my team, Luton, last week. They probably had a little spell, you know, for a couple of minutes against us. But other than that, I thought they were pretty poor. You know, Wigan, I could see Wigan getting a result here, to be honest. The reverse fixture, Wigan also won that 1-0. And I'm going to go for the same thing here. I'm going to go 1-0 Wigan, which, you know, they'll still be in the relegation zone. I will calculate the table and show you guys it in a minute. But yeah, they will still be in the relegation zone, but, you know, they'll be above the teams that are currently above them. So yeah, let's go through your comments. 4-1, we never do well against lower team, and especially like we lost 9 in 11 or something like that. Obviously, Jack's a Birmingham fan. Yeah, he's not confident whatsoever. And yeah, I think you'll make it tighter. But I do, like I said, I do think Wigan will win, mate. I do. But yeah, let's calculate the table. Show you guys what it would look like after this. So obviously Burnley have remained top. Sheffield United remains second. Middlesbrough third. Luton would jump up to fourth, which would be good. 3 points off Middlesbrough in third. Millwall would be fifth with a better goal difference than Blackburn, who would be on the same points. Norwich still just outside the playoffs. Watford eighth. Sunderland would jump. Sunderland would remain ninth, actually, I think, isn't it? Coventry 10th. Look how tight the points are. 3 points now. Coventry would be away from the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? West Brom 11th. And then that's where the gap gets quite big. You know, look at that. West Brom on 51. Preston would then be on 46. Bristol City 45 in 13th. Reading 14th. Swansea 15th. Hull 16th. Stoke City 17th. Rotherham United 18th, so they'll actually jump above QPR if they're to beat them. QPR 19th, which is madness, but I'm liking it because all their fans that were giving me the mouth last season. Okay. Birmingham obviously 20th. Cardiff still 21st, just above the relegation zone. But then if Wigan were to beat Birmingham, Cardiff are then 2 points safe. So it is tight. It is tight between them. And then, like I said, obviously Wigan 22nd, Huddersfield 23rd, and then Blackpool at the bottom. Blackpool 5 points from safety. Same with Huddersfield, but obviously Huddersfield are above Blackpool because obviously they've got a better goal difference, +2 in that sense. So yeah, people, that would be the table. If results go the way, let me just run through my prediction. So Forest City 0, West Bromwich Albion 2, Blackburn Rovers 1, Sheffield United 2. Obviously the midday games. Cardiff City 1, Bristol City 1, Sunderland 1, Stoke City 0. 3 p.m. games now. Blackpool 1, Burnley 3, Middlesbrough 2, Reading 1, Millwall 2, Norwich City 2, Watford 2, Preston North End 1, Huddersfield Town 0, Coventry City 1, Luton Town 1, Swansea City 0, Rotherham United 2, QPR 1, and then the last one, Wigan Athletic 1, Birmingham City 0. So yeah, people, there you go. That is the first ever championship live stream of predictions. Probably do more of these in the future, like I do with Premier League. So yeah, man. Jack also says, always start well, then after Christmas you go downhill, then fight for survival again. Well, I kind of ate my words, mate. I'm not going to lie, because I said when you lot were doing all right, I said you lot were the most improved team this season in the league, which, you looked like you were doing decent. But then, yeah, you've just, I don't know what's really happened. Is it because the ownership stuff's still going on? Has that affected it? And I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a Birmingham fan. Obviously, I don't, watch them week in, week out either. Like I said, I thought you were very poor against Luton. I thought you had probably about a 5-minute spell, where obviously, it was scrambled, we cleared it away, and near that time as well, it was when you hit the crossbar, wasn't it? But yeah, I don't know what's going on with you guys. You have got decent players, I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's just mad. It's just mad to me. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it, really? But yeah, people, this is where I am going to wrap up the stream. So yeah, big up to everyone that's tuned in. Much appreciated. We're currently on 11 likes. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. I know a few people watch this back on playback as well, so if you could smash a like there as well, that would also be appreciated. Jack also says, yeah, the owner thing is still going on. Been a protest, but nothing that good. And despite being favourites for relegation as well. Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people put you down there, didn't they? I didn't put you in there, but I did put you, I want to say 18th. So yeah, I've done a stream on it anyway. But yeah, I'll probably react to it at the end of the season. See how I've done on a lot of them. I mean, I did say Luton at the start of season 2 finished 4th. And obviously, like I said, if we do win this weekend and Blackburn don't, we can go up to 4th. Millwall don't win as well. So we'll see, man. We will see what goes on with that one. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. That would also be much appreciated. And if you do want to follow me across any of my socials, links to them are also in the description. And yeah, is that everything I want to say? Oh yeah, content tomorrow, Premier League predictions. We'll do a live stream on that as well. I want to say 4 p.m. UK time. And then obviously I will do the Hatter Show as well, where me and my dad will get more into the Luton game. Obviously discuss the Millwall game as well. And yeah, like I said, get into that game at the weekend against Swansea City. And then yeah, Saturday there'll be a match day vlog. I'll come out in the evening to the Swansea game. Sunday, I'm going to do a watch along to the Premier League game between Liverpool and Manchester United. And then I think on Monday, I'll have Champions League predictions. I might do a live stream or pre-recorded, not sure yet. And there's a few Championship rescheduled games. So I might even do them all in one, to be honest with you, like I did with the FA Cup predictions and the two Championship games from this week. So yeah, people, that is where I'm going to wrap up the stream. Like I said, big up everyone who's tuned in. Also, big up to my German subscriber for super chat as well. Much appreciated, mate. Like I've already said, and I say it every time, people, every single super chat I do receive on this channel does go back into the channel. So yeah, if you ever want to, obviously I'm not going to force anyone to do it. It's your money. Do what you want. But yeah, just bear that in mind. If anyone does ever want to send one, like I said, they do go back into the channel and making the channel better. Getting a new camera, getting, just loads of stuff really regarding it. So yeah, man, big up to yourself for that, mate. Much appreciated. And like I said, back again with 2 streams tomorrow. Hoping for, I want to say 4 p.m. Premier League predictions live. And the Hat Show will be 6 or 6:30. So yeah, definitely check them out if you can. That would be much appreciated. Even if you watch them back on playback, that would be boss. So yeah, people, that is where I am going to wrap this up. And if you are watching on playback as well, I know people will, but do get in your score predictions as well for this weekend's games. And I will see you lot in a bit. So take care and peace. Hopefully Luton get that win. Come on, you Hatters.